Thank you, Grace of Heaven, Grand Master, predecessor, transmitters, and all of you for this opportunity to learn to speak on this topic, temple etiquette, or basically rules and regulations. While I was preparing for this class, it made me sort of want to do it more, because we have so many little things that need fixing, and so hopefully, but I would have to say too, I would come across some words that I'm going to need helping on. So when I do and I make those mistakes, anyone can jump in and make the correct pronunciations. So why does the temple have rules and regulations? Okay? Why do we have to practice and perform rituals? One may ask, are these rituals necessary? Shouldn't everything just be done naturally? Certainly, right? Rituals without purpose or meaning are not very useful. Providing the rituals are not practiced like forms, they must and will continue. Now, Confucius, who also is one of the people who was given the direction or mandate to have what we call a religion, he also questioned many of the rituals in his time, because no one seems to know or understand the purpose or meaning behind the rituals. In other words, the rituals have become simple traditions and custom passed down through the ages without anyone knowing why they were there or still being performed. We should always try to understand what and why do we do the same things or true rituals always. Holy Teacher says, when the temple regulations and etiquettes are well performed, can the Tao society be steady or unstable, and there can be real development and expansion. If the temple regulations and etiquettes are performed properly, they will be just an illusion. Even though we are currently doing well, very well, with the Tao propagation, there will be a danger. It may collapse at any time. Maybe we will not see it clearly in a year or two. However, good achievement or bad efforts will become clear after 10, 20 years. The more we follow the temple regulations and etiquettes, the wider our Tao propagation will spread. So, we have these rules and regulations, and most of us come to the temple and we don't practice the rules and regulations. We do our own thing, and sometimes we are not very courteous to one another. But as Tao cultivators, these are things that we should be doing. These are the things that actually supposed to be natural, because we do it all the time. So this is what Holy Teacher is saying. So, and I particularly like that part where Holy Teacher says, if we are not careful, that it can collapse. So we need to be practicing these principles. So the more we are sincere and the more willing to propagate Tao, to sacrifice ourselves and contribute to Tao, the bigger and more frequent the help and signs from heaven and the Buddhas will be. Do not be afraid of difficulty. Just perform our basic duties well. Heaven will guide us and show us the bright way. The bowing prostration that we do can also be taught as a meditation in motion. Normally, one associates stillness and calm with meditation, and that would be traditionally correct. But true meditation does not require that the body be at rest. The true meditative heart and mind should be in such a state of calm and awareness that we are not affected by what is going on around us. So if someone is speaking to you, and while, like today, someone is speaking to you, and instead of listening to the person, you're on your phone and doing different things, and then the person may ask you a question and they say, what did you say? I didn't understand. Because you're not listening. So as dog cultivators, we're supposed to have this way, this calmness about us all the time, even in the face of chaos, things going on. We should be so conscious of ourselves all the time that we don't get involved in the things that are going on around us. So this way we can see and we could sense danger easier than most people because of that calmness. And naturally, when our angels speak to us, then we can hear. If we are not that calm or don't have that stillness about us, then we would not hear. Like you're saying, you heard your voices, so that means there must be some kind of calm with you. All right. So on arrival to the temple, we don't practice that part anymore, but anyhow, on arrival we cleanse our hand. Normally before we used to use the towel, but because of, I guess, sanitary circumstances, we are using sanitizer today. Right. So we greet the transmitters present with a standing bow. Afterwards, we go to the altar and we do our individual arrival prayer. Sometimes most people don't know how to do it for themselves, so there is always someone to help you to do that arrival prayer. We must do it every morning by ourselves. Normally, we use the small temple to do that. So this arrival prayer, so when you get in, when the transmitters is present in the temple before we arrive, we use the term kanjia. Is that correct? Tanja. When the transmitter is present and we are leaving, we say sija. Right. Okay. When the transmitters come to the temple after we arrive first, we say Jia. All right. And when the transmitter leave the temple before we leave, we say Sonja. Sonja. All right. See, I told you I was going to need your help. All right. Okay. All right.
I can help you if you don't need my help.
Yeah, okay. So if the men are doing the cutout, the ladies are standing on the side. When we hear Tin Chan Chen Da Jan, that means the virtuous ones present, we must return with a standing bow, and vice versa for the men. The rituals or ceremonies that we do are very important in our Tao cultivation. Self-discipline, meditation, gratitude, self-reflection, awareness, and humility. So in self-discipline, rituals are a way of practicing consistent self-discipline. So if we don't have discipline, a person who don't have discipline, like, sorry to say it, but some of the children, like this, when we have the ceremony, they're speaking, and the more you say, you have to be quiet, they just look at you and keep doing what they're doing. So that is a reflection of a person not having self-discipline. Meditation is also considered as a form of meditation, not the type of meditation that you sit and try to find tranquility. It's a stillness of the heart and mind. It keeps our heart and mind in peace. It allows us to maintain a state of tranquility and clarity. Gratitude, those who cultivate correctly will automatically benefit naturally. Instead of asking for the Buddha's blessings and restraint, maintain a grateful heart and mind. All the good things that have already come into our lives. So we must know, but sometimes as humans we are sort of, we don't understand gratitude because we need something now, so we expect to get that. Sometimes we don't really need it, but because we think that we need it, so and then we go and ask for it, but it don't really work like that. So, and self-reflection, rituals are a time for us to self-reflect on our wrongdoings and follow the ways of the saints and Buddhas so we can improve our cultivation. On awareness, rituals allows us to be aware and focus on and practice, which can bring us closer to Tao. With humility, rituals are an important practice in humility. As a cultivator, we must always remain humble and get rid of the ego. Humility is a high virtue, and it is significant characteristic of a great cultivator. So it is necessary to do the arrival and departure prayer. So let me do that again. Is it necessary to do the arrival and departure prayer? Yes, it is. Right? Because let's say we are all children and we need to get something from, let's say we are hungry. So do we just go and light the stove and cook something? We have to get our parents, because our parents are very protective, especially our mothers, so they don't want us to go to the stove. So it's the same thing. So when we come to the temple, we have to do that arrival and departure prayer. It is very important, because remember, we are asking God and the Buddhas and everything to do permission. So we are getting permission. So it is very important. When we first come to the temple, did we not meet those of us who are performing these prayers? When there is a question about ritual, there comes from time to time. Why do we need to practice any rituals at all? And rituals about dogma. And isn't dogma opposite of the Tao, which is all about freedom? This is an idea that involves sense of those caught in the trap of empty talk. So a Tao cultivator should not ask why do we have to do that. I know we do have problems with what we call Westerners having to do, because people don't want to kneel down to bow because they don't understand. So, but it is necessary. But fail the reality check. If we really don't need rituals, then what about a person have a baby and they take the child and have the child christened? Alright? So how about a wedding? Don't they perform a ritual? Alright, a graduation, there's a ritual. A funeral, there's another ritual. So why is it that it is difficult for some people to come to the temple and perform these rituals? Do those rituals not have a special power and of themselves? Why is it that every group of people throughout history has its own history? Has its own highly specific custom for those special occasions. Those who speak against rituals may not be aware that they themselves practice small personal rituals as they go about their daily activities. So you're at home, and most of us have a specific time we go to bed at night. Most of us have a specific time we get up in the morning. That is a ritual. So when we come to the temple, it is important. So I don't think any of us here right now question the arrival, departure prayer, or when we have a ceremony that we're going to have in a little while to go through that sort of ritual. So, the truth is that rituals have their own integral place in the human psyche. We can say that it is the way of human being to have rituals. Rituals are an inescapable part of the human experience, part of the Tao of humanity. So, in class, we can ask questions on the topic that is given. However, because time is always limited, we ask that if it can be avoided, we hold the question until after the class and then ask question. There will be times when a question must be asked during the presentation. In that case, please keep that question or comment very short and simple. When a handout is given, please do not leave them on the table. When you take them home, do not take them to the bathroom or the bedroom. Do not put the scriptures in the garbage. Do not slouch while sitting. Do not bend over and like you're falling asleep, right? Or leave class before it is over. So try to do what we have to do before the class starts. So when we are in the class, we don't have to go outside. Sometimes it's difficult when nature calls, but we should try our best to stay in the class while the class is in session. I remember one time we had a Dharma class and Transmitter Ray was sitting next to me and Holy Teacher was here. And I had to ask him if it was okay to go to the bathroom. I don't know if you remember that. So, right? No, I asked Transmitter. And when I came back, Holy Teacher came up to the door and he just stood up like this and watched me and turned around and walked away again. So since then, I try to make sure that I don't go out during the class again. All right. So during the break, do not bring back to the class your coffee or water cup, coffee or food in the class. Only the transmitter and the presenter can have water in the class. While sitting in the temple, do not cross your legs or indulge in personal conversation. Any question on that? Anybody? Yes?
Is there a reason why you don't cross your legs?
Evelyn, could you tell her?
It's disrespect.
Oh. Yeah. Well, let's say in martial art, I'm just using that as an example, right? I guess. So let's say I'm up here now, and someone comes and stand up like this. We ask you not to do that because you're blocking out the energy, all right? So you try not to do that. And even kneeling, and there's some ways, like if I'm here and Jean is there and she put her left knee to the front and kneeling on her right knee, that is not also acceptable because the energy is not flowing. It's about capturing, all right? So to put that in the same context as the Tao, if you're there and let's say senior transmitter is just speaking to you casually and you cross your legs, it's the same thing. You're blocking out his energy and his instruction. So I don't know if that's a good example.
Another thing
Yes.
is when you cross your leg, according to the chiropractor, I have a girlfriend who has back problem. When you cross your leg for a long time, one leg is shorter.
Yeah.
So she has to go and
Really?
Yeah. And also her spinal is crooked.
It's bad for your posture.
Yeah. Yes.
Also, these chairs are the future Buddha's chair. So if we cross our leg, we are showing arrogance. Buddha is
Arrogance, okay.
So we have be humble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a good point.
Thank you. Yeah. So, all right. So every Sunday morning, during, huh?
Sorry, in class, actually we're all Buddhas. We just
We are.
don't know that. So we should portray that. I mean, we should we should not behave. It's part of the four what's that, postures.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, you're gonna go into more detail. And so therefore, even though we have a physical form, but it's just, spiritually, we're all Buddhas, and so we should then behave like what our true nature is, in form. So therefore, we should sit properly. And also, yeah, you said, so therefore, even though, we say, in heaven or whatever, absolute heaven, we have a lotus throne or seat platform. So but that's invisible, right, to us. So, but in the visible realm, i.e. now, that seat would represent that. You know what I'm saying? Or the place that we're sitting represent that. So therefore, we should sit properly. That's all it means. Okay.
Mm. Okay.
It's like core. Okay.
Right. Thank you. So every Sunday morning and during the Dharma class, the temple provides tea, coffee, and some light snacks in the morning at break time. Members are expected to be frugal, tidy, and considerate. Do not make a full cup of tea or coffee. The break is too short to drink a full hot cup of beverage. Write your name on the cup and reuse the same cup, and be considerate. Always finish your beverage, water or snack. Clean up behind yourself. There are two sections, one male and one female. That means the males are on this side here and the females are over on that side. Do not violate the rules. Show some respect for everyone. Basically, leave everything and everywhere cleaner than we met them. So, dress code. So, knowing how to dress for wherever we are going, especially to the temple, is extremely important. We obviously don't want to show up in shorts for a wedding. Do you go to a wedding and wear shorts? I don't think so. All right. Neither to the temple. We wouldn't show up up in Arati jeans, meaning the jeans with all the holes all over the place. All right. For an interview, you sure will not get that job. All right.
What's appropriate, right? What's considered what we call proper. I was going to say 庄严. No. Dignified.
Yeah. Conversely, everyone knows that wearing a formal gown to a football game would be downright silly. Right?
What's that?
Wearing a gown to a football game.
I don't know.
It's a formal.
No, I mean like a dress like that you'll go to a prom dress then. Okay, right.
It's kind of rare.
Okay. The temple colors are white top and navy blue or black pants or skirt. A specific blue striped tie for the men and a blue bow tie for the women. Is that what you call that thing?
Bow
Yeah,
tie.
a bow tie. Yeah.
Is that a bow tie?
It's
Yeah.
a bow tie. Okay, but it's a bow tie.
Okay. You know when?
They're not properly dressed.
Yeah. All right. See, when I was growing up, one of my uncles told me if a young man or man don't have a white shoe and a white shirt and a black pants, he is not a man. I still believe that today. Alright? Because I don't understand. You know, one of my uncles. Right. And I still believe that today. Because a white shirt can go with any color thing. A black shoe could go with any other color clothes. How could you not have a white shirt? How could you not have a black shoe? Alright? So,
He must be very well dressed.
always.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's where you learn it from.
Yeah. Alright? So, so do not wear slippers or shoes with that with your toes exposed. Open toe shoes.
Open back shoes.
Right. Or open back, right. Or jeans and sneakers. Short sleeve shorts or sleeveless blouse and shirts without collars are not allowed. That means you didn't know. Right, don't worry. Right. So it is important that because I mean, if you have a shirt and it don't have a collar, how could you put a tie on? Alright?
Well, ladies don't wear a tie.
No, well, the bow tie. Alright? It can't
Or
fit.
a uniform. It
Yeah,
only
can't fit. Yeah.
a button on.
Right.
Button on.
Right.
Well,
Okay.
Actually, though, I'm going to clarify something. You know, what you was mentioned about this. Well, yeah, I mean, in general, we encourage to wear kind of white, but it's really staff members who have to wear those. Like that. So,
Like the first year you're here, you just
Or you don't need to. I mean, you don't need to buy
You don't need-
uniform like that. But
You just wear a shirt with a collar and something with a sleeve, like, and no midriff showing
Yeah.
and no backless. Okay, so like you're going to church,
Yeah.
except the hat you know. Okay.
Right. So women blouse must not be too short during the cutout. Short blouse will ride up. For females, they should wear dark. They should not wear dark colors on the garment because it will show through the uniform shirt. White or neutral on the garment are the best choice. So, some time ago, we had a gentleman come in and he wanted to know why is it that the men is over here, and the women are over there. But it's not a social club. So there must be separation. And okay, so hope everybody here or the new people don't have any problem with it. All right. There must always be a clear distinction of and between male and female in the temple. As a dog cultivator, we must always be respectful and dignified in our actions. Simply put, the temple is not a social club. Whether married, single, or otherwise, it is our Buddha's heart and mind that we must bring to the temple, not how well we look, not how well we dress. This is heaven's temple. Just as we sit separately, we line up separately. Ladies on the left side of the altar and the gentlemen on the right side of the altar. The protocol is 2 straight lines for each group. The most senior at the front, children stand in the back or beside their parents. Stand quietly and attentively facing the altar. There should be no sitting, no speaking during the ceremony. So the yellow section is the female, and naturally you see the men in a suit. So the altar is there, and sometimes we have to go from side to side. So this is what explaining how we go cross over. So when crossing from one side to the other, we must bow our heads in a form of respect until we cross over. The statues on the altar are are a representative of our parents and elders. They are worthy of our respect. Respect is not just what we say, but most of all, the way we act, showing others that we take their feelings and thoughts into consideration, how to earn others' respect. If we demonstrate respect towards others, then others will respect us.
Well, the crossing, that you kind of do that only
In the front.
like where the cushions are. I mean, when the yellow cushions or whatever up in the front by the altar. I mean, if you're crossing in the back, you don't have to do that.
So, like when we are crossing between the altar, the front altar and the back, don't we have to do that too?
No, I mean,
If you're in the middle of the temple, you don't need
no,
to do
just
that.
up
Just
where
the front,
those
where the
cushions-
cushions
Yeah,
are.
okay.
Yeah, when you're crossing. If you're and if you're crossing behind, well, there's behind that.
Behind
Yeah,
the
the
two
two,
tables.
yeah.
Then you still have to
You
bend.
still, yeah, right. So a Dao ceremony is conducted by the transmitter. After the lighting of the 3 lamps, perform a ritual honoring God, Buddhas, and saints. The Dao ceremony is an invocation to which the transmitter asks heaven and the holy teacher for permission to perform the invocation. The new members must have an introducer and a sponsor to be able to receive the Dao. Afterwards, the holy teacher uses the hand of the transmitter to open the third eye of the new member. After receiving Dao, during the learning practice or cultivation and managing Dao affairs, we come across a salesman, a solemn temple, beneficial teachers and worthy friends. What we study are sacred scriptures, Chinese classic virtuous books, temple rules and manners. Especially we have the protection from heaven's mandate, blessings from our patriot masters, Mila Buddha, Maitreya Buddha, for those who have received Dao. If we keep practicing and cultivating Dao, there will be a lot of wonderful testimonies in life. Benefits of receiving and cultivating Dao: to change our temperament and to get rid of bad habits and behaviors. As a Dao cultivator, cultivators always follow the aspirations of Buddhas, saints, and virtuous persons, and always study the true meaning of life and then understand the real meaning and mission of human life. After we receive Dao, we receive influence from spiritual strength during our cultivation process. Naturally, we will change our temperament and become awe-inspiring, righteous, and benevolent. In addition, we learn the temple rules and regulations. We always treat people with modest and good nature, and we understand how to do things in a proper way. At the same time, we cultivate our inner self. We mend our shortcomings, control our temper step by step. Our inner sincerity will be put into action. Thus our temperament is change, will change.
No, not a question.
Yeah.
Okay. When we have the Dao ceremony, once we go in, we cannot come out back and forth. When the Dao ceremony starts, when we're in, we must stay and remain online until the ceremony finishes.
Yeah.
And when we bring in new people, we cannot just let them run around.
Yeah.
We must accompany them so they do not witness this Dao ceremony.
Yeah.
Because free treasure is only for people
I'm
that
going to
receive
talk
the
about.
blessing.
Yeah. Right. Thank you. Yeah. The core of the basic belief and doctrine of the Tao is the origin of law of all things to the universe. The three treasures cannot be spoken unless the three lamps on the altar are lit. After receiving the blessings of the Tao, the three treasures are given to us. The three treasures: the main gate, the heart sutra or holy sutra, the holy hand seal. The main gate of the entrance of heaven, the heart sutra, is heaven's secret password. The holy hand seal is the holy seal of heaven. We are able to receive the three treasures by the grace of God and the Grand Masters. As Tao is available for the time being, and all the good people have the opportunity to learn the three treasures due to our background and the divine affinity to receive the Tao. In receiving the three treasures, we make a mutual agreement with heaven and our holy teacher. We are then capable of helping 7 generations of ancestors and 9 generations of offsprings. But we must cultivate and gradually build merits and virtues. Temple materials. So what are temple materials? There's lots of books here on the other side. There's a mini library, and there are many things over on the tables over there in the back and so forth. Anything that is here in the temple belongs to the temple. So temple materials are books, scriptures, CDs, and anything we see in the temple belongs to the temple. If we need to borrow a book, please make a request through the transmitters or the lecturers. When you are finished with the book or the material, please pass it on to someone else or return it to the temple. It is very important that you do not take materials in the bedroom and bathroom. Also, don't discard in the garbage. So the doorways, there are 2 doors in the front there, and especially to the new members, try to remember 1 door is for males, 1 door is for female, and we do have not good behavior when it comes to the doors. So just as the members stand and sit separately in the temple, there are separate doors as well. Please use the assigned door specifically marked in Chinese and English for male and female. Do not force yourself in the door while others are passing through it. It is uncouth and unethical to push and force through the door without regards for your fellow Dawkins. So Confucius envisioned a society that return to its roots in order to better prosper people themselves should change, and not just the ones that govern them. He insisted on the return to the old customs and traditions, and emphasis was placed on one's etiquette and proprieties. Now, I put that in because I kind of like that, because the way that society is today, I think that we really need to go back to the old days, if there is such a thing, the big term as the old days, because today it's not very nice. It's nice. We are not living a very nice way today. So, temple etiquette require protocols and good, polite, acceptable behavior, good manners, a code of rules and conduct, good decorum. If we practice proper etiquette, especially in the temple, and we are less likely to offend or annoy people. We must even charm them. So if we show respect all the time, people, it's easier for someone else to listen to us. But if we are loud and this unruly and so forth, it's very difficult for someone to listen to us. No, this is, for me, I think this is important. I don't know about you guys, but every Sunday I see transmitter Ray go into the bathroom with tissue and wiping up the floor. Right? And I feel bad about that, to have a transmitter doing that, because so I go to the bathroom and I can't use it because I have to clean it first because it's so messy. Right? So I had to put that in. Thank you, Jean. That's your work.
No, I found it on the internet.
Yeah, but you put it in. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but
right.
they don't listen.
Yeah.
They don't read.
It is quite easy to make a mess in the temple, especially in the men's bathroom. At the urinal, there's a sign that clearly reads. You could see the sign, right? So, but people are not reading. Our aim is to keep the bathroom clean. Stand closer. It simply means if you stand closer, or you say when you tinkle, yeah, you're not gonna sprinkle, and they're sprinkling all over the floor.
We
Right?
train it. Okay. When toddlers are learning to go to the bathroom, they have this
A target.
paper to put into the toilet. So they teach the child to aim for the target.
yeah.
So you shoot inside the bowl.
Yeah.
There's like what do they call it, urinal cake, whatever they call it.
Yeah.
Just aim for
But
that.
everybody is an adult.
Yeah. So, it's not good because they sprinkle all over the place, and if you're not careful, we're gonna track all that urine back inside to the temple. So it's important. So sometimes, guys, we have, the transmitters are very important to the temple. So we should, if we see it, we should try to do it for ourselves. We shouldn't have the transmitter going into the bathroom and cleaning up other people's mess. So yes.
It's probably mostly the children that probably doing it.
Yeah, no. No, you see, listen, we can't blame the children for anything. I have seen big men, right, go and they're carrying on conversation and they turn and missing the urinal.
Maybe you should put out another sign say, no talking in the bathroom.
Lock the
boy.
bathroom door.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So there's a sink on the side right there when you walk through the hallway. And if you notice, if you look at it, try to go and look at it if you don't know what I'm speaking about. See, these cups and towels are right there. That sink is for the place that these cups and towels are washed. So when we finish eating, if we bring our own bowls and utensils, do not wash it in that sink. There's a sink outside in the back that you could wash your stuff there. So that sink, and plus when they're cooking, sometimes they go to that sink to wash the vegetables and so forth. So we should not be going there to wash our dirty hands and do other things. We should, so try to avoid using that sink for those purposes. Okay, guys? All right. Now, I know you're going to be angry at me, but can't help. I keep saying this all the time and people not listening. See, we just have one member here that's going to receive the dough now, so this section is important. So, lunchtime. This part of my presentation is a bit disturbing for me because, and it's depressing to see my fellow Dawkins looking like regular New Yorkers standing in line for to be the first in the store on a Black Friday sale, right? Trying to get what is on display, pushing and rushing for food in the temple when there's an abundance of food. Firstly, as a Dawkin, when the food tables are displayed, we should say grace. Afterwards, sit down, row by row, then go to the tables to get their lunches without conversing with others over the food. If you look, it's not right, because we can't see it sometimes because it's so small, but every time we speak, little degree of spit flying out and it's going into the food. First of all, think about it, right? We are violating the health code by having the food there without heaters, yeah? So if we're we have to be very concerned, especially as we are now going into the flu season. It is even more important. So let us all here, the English class members, be the example for the other classes to make sure we are not doing those things. So, and we could speak to them, say, don't do that. All right? So it's easier to just sit and wait, and everybody shouldn't be rushing. There's always enough food, okay? So don't rush. So speaking over the food is not permissible. Secondly, when there's a new member in the temple, the introducer should make sure the new members are served first. That should be a priority. And the introducer should actually take the person and make sure they have their food. Okay? Teach them what to do. Because funny thing about it is that most people who have animals at home, I don't know why, but they treat the dogs and the cats so nicely, and then they treat human being like it's reversed. So the humans are treated like animals and the animals are treated like humans. So treat the new members as honored guests. The third disturbing thing is when the grace is being said, some people are either so hungry or just greedy, they are eating before grace. Why can't some people wait and then say after grace is said? Why can't everyone wait until grace is said before starting to eat? Why must some people speak over the food? It is not prudent, healthy, or proper etiquette to wait until you return to your seat and then speak and eat. So sometimes when the grace is said, most people don't know what is said. So I need help here. So we say, so gan shade chen san shudar gan share jiao shin gan share room fu gan share shudar chan shu shin. So wait. Okay, so in English, what does that mean? Say, it says, thank the grace of heaven and the grace of the masters, thank the farmers, thank the kitchen god, thank the cooks. We invite the transmitter to partake in the meal. We invite the members to partake in the meal. So, we have, actually, if we listen to it, we should wait. Alright? We shouldn't just go and start eating and the grace is being said. Sometimes the grace is being said and people just move in. We should be a little, there should be some solemn kind of thing. This morning we had a class about the kitchen guard, right? So, if, and in this grace, we are thanking the kitchen guard. Suppose when we go to eat the food and we didn't say the grace, the kitchen guard decide to choke us. Alright? Okay?
Demerits from the recording angel.
Right. So we don't want to get those demerits, guys. So
Also, one thing I noticed a lot of time when we say the grace, people who doesn't have food should not be
putting up,
taking.
yeah,
I think we should at
Have
least
a-
have something,
some food,
then,
yeah.
then thing.
yeah.
Because if we don't have anything, I don't think
It's not meaningful.
It's not meaningful, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
after you get your food, I mean, if everyone, you haven't gotten your food and everyone's doing it, that's okay.
We
Just
can-
after you get your food, then you say yourself.
I mean, I think we can say it, but we don't need to.
To put the hand up.
Yeah, because there's nothing.
There's nothing in there. So basically, you're thanking for nothing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we thank the. So we said that. Thank you, the farmers and the, okay. So when we do eat, we must do so without. We must do so with a palate, mind, and heart of gratitude. So, saying the grace, make it come from your heart because you are thankful for the heart. So your palate is feeling the gratitude for the food that you're gonna eat, and when you finish eating, you should feel. You should not be saying, "Oh, this food don't taste so good," alright? But you didn't cook the food. You were not in the kitchen. Alright? So we should be thankful for it and don't worry about it. Because like Kerry said this morning, you know how many people here in New York City haven't had a meal to eat for the day and will not have a meal. So let us be thankful. So our heart and attitude must display good foundation and etiquette. The foundation of proper etiquette is our behavior that is acceptable, gracious, and polite in social, professional, and family situations. Good manners can mean the difference between success and failure in many aspects of life. Knowing and exhibiting proper etiquette is essential to any community and civilization. So this temple is a community. So we have to show that type of proper etiquette at all times. So we spoke about this in the first class this morning, so because it's all connecting. So when a person comes to the temple or we bring someone to the temple, it is important that we know when we can take them into the temple, especially in the morning during the ceremony, and most so if that like right now there's a Dao ceremony. And if that, sometimes we bring a person to the temple and they decide, oh, I don't want to do it today. So we can't let them see that ceremony. We have to take them someplace else because it's important. So make sure that if we are bringing people, and we should try to speak to them first about what the ceremony is all about. What are you coming to do? What is this thing about receiving the Tao? What does it mean? We can't just say, oh, I would like to take it to the temple and to receive the Tao. We have to explain to the person. So when the person is here, they're not lost, or then they don't have to change their minds because we already explained everything to them. So they know what is expected of them, what are the requirements, and so forth. So if we could do that, then I think maybe we'll have less people coming and then changing their mind afterwards. So, gossiping. Do not be involved in idle gossip in the temple. Gossiping is demeaning, speaking about your colleagues or fellow Dawkin in the hallway or in any place that is in life. You should not be speaking badly about another person. It is not allowed in the temple. Engaging in gossiping all about yourself. Sometimes some people like to say, oh, I did this, I went there, I went there, the thing. So, or sometimes there's a person have or experience some difficulties at work or home and so forth. There's a time and place for those things. Those are not topics that we should discuss in the temple. When we are at the temple, we should be speaking about those matters, not those things that are deemed as gossip. Say, do not conduct personal business, look for business, or market your business, or begin being vindictive to one another. Communication should be about thou matters. So, if you have a business, the temple is not a place for you to advertise it. So, I didn't make it up as part of the rules and regulations. So when others are kotowing or do not sit, and I see that a lot. See, if during the ceremony everyone should stand. Of course, if there will be some exceptions where a person might have an injury and unable to stand for a little while, I'm sure that there may be an exception transmitted. That person will be able to sit.
If the person actually is like
handicap
or something like that, yeah, that could be an exception. But typically, usually, well, what your picture is showing that they're bound without the cushions. But usually you should provide a cushion.
Yeah. A higher cushion.
Yeah, right. A higher cushion, right.
Okay. Okay, so when
typically do not sit.
Yeah. So when others are kotowing, everyone needs to stand and show support for those bowing. Sounds add to our ears because it is the word kotow may sound odd to our ears because it is a Chinese word. The kotow originally means to kneel and touch the ground with the forehead as an act of or worship or submission. This practice was first come to attention of the English-speaking world late in the 18th century when Westerners began to visit China. Rules and proprieties are to help us improve and grow, which will mold us into a standard role model. When we are kotowing, we be sincere and use our own spiritual light to enlighten ourselves. When we kotow, hold an image of Buddha in our mind and our image and imagine ourselves as a Buddha, then the kotow rites will be more meaningful. That means our mind should be clear, and while we are doing the bows, we should not be thinking about anything. And this way, we would feel more and understand more of what we're doing, because now because I think lecture Kai said this morning that we are all like Buddhas already. So if we're doing it properly, then we would feel like Buddhas, and it becomes more meaningful. Okay. Then the kata, right? When we kneel and bow, we are showing respect to ourselves and our own Buddha nature. So try to be a little more sincere when we're bowing. I know sometimes it's hard to clear the mind or maybe thinking about something else, but once we could do this, then we'll find pleasure in doing the bows in the morning, especially when we have to do maybe 1,000 bows. I know that seems to be a little strenuous sometimes, but if we clear our mind and just listen to the instruction and the counts, it becomes much easier. But once our mind is occupied with other things, it becomes very difficult. We get very tired. So, the meaning of kata. Confucius believed there was a natural harmony between the body and the mind, and therefore, whatever actions were expressed through the body would be transferred over to the mind, because the body is placed in a low position in the kata. The idea is that one will naturally convert to his or her mind and feeling of respect. So this word came with so K-O-T K-O-T-O, what? K-O-T-O. Oh, you say ow? Cut out.
Yeah, it's different
Yeah.
phonetics.
Good, yeah. So, to kowtow is the highest sign of reverence. It was widely used to show reverence for one's elder or superior, and especially the emperors, as well as for religious and cultural objects and worship. In modern time, usage of the true meaning of kowtow has been reduced. The word and meaning of kowtow, which describe the act of kneeling and bowing our heads, one fist distant from our hand, seal on the mat, to show respect. This used to be an ancient custom and culture. Now it refers to acting like we are doing that whenever we bow or not. So, looking up this word, I find lots of people, the bowing is different, that they are spreading out, the hands are straight out, and then when they go down and make the first bow, then they come up and turn the hand up. And most of the people are bowing with their hands apart like this. But in the temple, because of I think the salvation of the three realms, right?
Yeah.
That we hold the third treasure. We are holding, so we think. And before, the bowing used to be, because this word actually means to go and hit your head, right? Or just to touch the floor. But we are doing one fist distant from things. So I guess it's logical for us to put our head on our hand. So that's the difference. So if you notice on this picture here, this man, his hands are out straight, but his head is actually going down towards the floor. Okay. Any questions? Yeah. 1 minute. Okay.
Well, actually, just okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay.
The questions.
Yeah. So the cushions. So most people don't still not understanding. See, like I noticed, we have the red cushions and the yellow cushions. Now, when there's like the ceremony, you'll see some people now have a robe on. Those people plus the transmitters are the ones that's supposed to be using the yellow cushions, right? Or if there is a person who have like for instance Joe, have a medical problem, we could put him or get an extra cushion even though he's further in the back to let him, so he don't have to go so low down to the red cushion. Lots of people are rushing up to get those yellow cushions, and there are people in the back having real difficulties kneeling down. We should allow those people to go and use the cushion. All right, so we need to pay attention to that. So the cushions, I have numbers. So the middle one right in front of the altar is always reserved for the transmitter, or most times senior transmitter, right, when there are more than one. So 1 is the one in the middle, then to our right is number 2, and to our left is number 3. So let's say we come in the morning, and three people come together. Let's say 3 ladies come in. They should not line up 1, 2, 3. The middle cushion should not be used. So we should go 2, 3, and then the next 4, and the 1 to the back, the middle. Yes.
Does the parties that you are reiterating, is it from the holy teacher or?
You mean this particular about the cushions?
Yeah.
No, that's from the Fukui meeting.
Yeah.
From
Yeah,
the book?
yeah, the book.
Yeah.
I don't know, somehow I think I heard, or like if
Okay.
if,
All right.
if the transmitter, like, I mean, I don't know, it could be wrong. What I understand is like if the 3 people on none are transmitter,
Yeah.
we can still
Use the middle?
first one, yeah.
We will have to discuss that later.